Hello, seniors. This is our last set of lecture notes for chapter 3 and also our last set of lecture notes until we get back from spring break. So these should match up well with your merger questions that you completed and submitted this morning. So let's go ahead and take out your homework that you submitted and you can take your notes on that, or if you want, you can start from scratch. All right, so looking at mergers and acquisitions. Here we go. Mergers in general, most of you are familiar with the idea of a merger. It is when two companies make the choice to form and to come together and to now be a single business. Okay. There are a few reasons why companies would decide to merge, so let's look at those. There are 5 of them. It's easier to grow faster when you merge. You have access to more money. You have 2 different businesses, so you have access to the capital and the money from both businesses. Another benefit is new product lines. The company that is bought, not only do you have your initial product lines, but you also have the products that that company sells. So now you could add to the number of products that you have pretty easily. A third reason to merge is to catch up or eliminate your rivals. If your rival is potentially keeping you from making as much money, being able to buy them out would help you be able to make more money. Also, if your business is behind in your particular industry, if you buy another company, you will gain access to their technology, which may be able to help you catch up in your particular industry. Another reason to merge is to lose your corporate identity. This usually happens when something bad has happened for a business or their name is associated with a defective product or anything that is negative in the public eye. When they merge, what the company will tend to do is take the name of the company they're merging with that doesn't have any type of a bad reputation. So that reason would be to lose your corporate identity. The last reason to merge would to increase your efficiency on multiple levels. When businesses merge, there is going to be less management. People are going to, unfortunately, lose their jobs. The less management you have, the less money that goes out in salaries. Another way to increase your efficiency is to have more outlets. When you merge with another company, you gain access to the number of stores that they have. So you would have your brick and mortar stores plus their brick and mortar stores giving you more outlets to sell your products. Also, any of the other businesses that that company does business with will also give you more outlets. Also with efficiency, last thing would be volume discount. The more that you buy, usually the better deal you can get. So that would help keep your costs of your inputs and their costs down. So those are our 5 reasons why a company might merge. There are 3 different types of mergers we're going to look at. The first one is a horizontal merger. In a horizontal merger, you have the merger of 2 companies, 2 firms that basically are selling the same type of product. An example of these mergers to help you make sense of these would be when Mercedes-Benz bought out and merged with Chrysler, or when Citigroup bought out Washington Mutual. They're, in the first case, both are car companies, and so their merger of car companies would be a horizontal merger. The second example are banks. So similar companies that merge would be horizontal mergers. Another example of this might be when, for those of you who like satellite radio, when you had satellite radio companies starting to merge into one. So you ended up with XM radio, right? And that would be another example of a horizontal merger. The second type of merger is a vertical merger. The good way to think about this one is we know vertical is up and down, like stairs. So a vertical merger is when a company buys out all the different steps needed in the manufacturing of their product. So my example on the bottom, as you can see, would be if you were a bakery, you might want to buy out a flour mill or maybe a dairy or a sugar mill because those are the types of products you would be using in order to make your baked goods. The reason to do this is it cuts out the middleman. So the price of all of the flour would go down, the butter would go down, the sugar would go down because you're producing them and you're not involving any type of a middleman. Another example of a vertical merger would be when Disney bought out Pixar. Also, when eBay bought out PayPal. They bought out companies related that they needed in the making of their product to keep their prices down. Okay. The last merger we're looking at is a conglomerate merger. When we look at a conglomerate, we're looking at a business that has 4 unrelated industries within their umbrella. So conglomerate merger is when a company buys out a completely unrelated business. When you have a conglomerate, they have 4 businesses in all different industries. The reason to do this, our economy goes up and down, and it's not all industries being impacted equally. In some cases, in our economy, we may have, for example, housing go down. At the same time housing is going down, we may see technology going up. So by having a conglomerate, a company can minimize its losses by having all different industries represented, banking on the idea that not all areas of our economy are going to go down at the same time. That's what's known as diversification. The idea of don't put your eggs all in one basket, that you should have different types of products that are unrelated so that the company can weather any economic storm. So let's look at some conglomerate examples. Nestle is a conglomerate. From this slide, you can see all the different companies that Nestle owns, from animal kibble to baby products to hair product lines with the L'Oreal ice cream. So Nestle is a good example, as is Walt Disney Company. If we look at big picture, our economy is dominated by conglomerates. Most of you probably weren't quite aware of all of these companies and how many other companies they owned. So if you look in the interior of the chart, these are all your conglomerates, and then you can look and see all the different other companies that they own. All right, another concept within this section would be multinationals. Pretty self-explanatory. A multinational is a corporation that does business in multiple countries. So below you can see Starbucks and their company as it exists in Japan. Subway at the top, it's hard to see, but that's Kentucky Fried Chicken on the upper right-hand corner. McDonald's and Coca-Cola. The last things just to bring up real quickly in this chapter are 2 concepts most of you probably are familiar with: depreciation and labor unions. Depreciation, most of us probably associate that with our cars, and that's very similar. It's the general wear and tear that happens to businesses' machines, because over time, as we know, through use, it's going to depreciate, it's going to lose value, and eventually they will have to replace machinery. And we also know about the existence of labor unions. You probably remember this from US history, and labor unions existing to represent their workers and to look out for the best interest in benefits and wages for their workers. So that's all that we have for Chapter 3. We're not doing the entire chapter because it doesn't correlate with our standards. So hopefully this helps, and I'll get back to you after spring break. Bye.